Greetings to all of you. I would like to share some of my reflections on Pluto's movement into Aquarius. As of November 19th, Pluto will now stay in the sign of Aquarius until January of 2044. This, from my perspective, marks that threshold of our movement more fully into the age of Aquarius. And as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, we're also at the end of one precessional cycle, the beginning of a new one. We're also coming out of the Kali Yuga, that time in the Yuga cycle that is about our movement into our lowest level of consciousness. And we're now on the cusp of a new phase in that 24,000 year cycle that is about our movement into ascending consciousness. We all feel the shifts that are happening in this time. So many of us are feeling the rapid changes and the increasing spiritual awakening that we're feeling in ourselves and seeing in others around the globe. And this community has been so profound in terms of embodying that and being a place where we support each other in that. But we also see the level of chaos and destruction that is still playing out on the planet, the increasing war, genocide, violence, corruption, lies, greed. How do we understand all of that? I think part of it is that we're in this intense transition time, that these paradigms of the past are trying to hold on as we're in this profound shift into a new age, a new precessional cycle, a time of ascending consciousness. So we're seeing that play of duality, of good and evil, of order and chaos playing out in a very intense manner on the planet. How do we understand how this is all going to unfold? How do we work with all of this intensity in this time of transformation and transmutation? So many of us long for clarity and certainty about how is this all going to unfold. And yet I truly believe that how this will unfold depends on the choices that we make individually and collectively. We are truly co-creators with cosmic consciousness. So how we work with these shifting energies will impact how we change and evolve, and collectively how all of this unfolds in these coming years as we're in this profound time of transition and transformation. But let's explore a bit more of the meaning of Aquarius, the meaning of this age that we're moving into. I've talked in many videos about how Aquarius, with the modern planetary ruler Uranus, is about our movement into truth, into justice, into a rebalancing of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. My summary of the age of Aquarius is it's about reclaiming the sovereignty of the self in the sanctity of community, in unity with cosmic consciousness. It is about our realizing our own responsibility for the choices that we make, and also coming into new forms of community with each other, moving out of the patriarchal power over dynamics into more equality, justice, fairness, compassion in community. And it is about remembering that we are a part of the consciousness of the cosmos. I believe that the water bearer, Aquarius, is pouring from the urn the living waters to us here on the earth. These are the living waters that sustain us and nurture us and give us life. These are also the living waters of consciousness. We now know more deeply through Veda Austin's work that water itself is consciousness. It is the light of consciousness in form. And when we drink of the waters of the earth, the waters that are coming to us from the sky and from these energies of the cosmos, we are able to remember who we are and are being a part of the oneness of cosmic consciousness. The waters of Aquarius remind us that everything is consciousness. Everything around us is a manifestation of cosmic consciousness. And as the waters of the water bearer flow down and are taken in by the fish beneath the feet of the water bearer, that fish with the royal star Fomalhaut, symbolizing our drinking in and embodying that energy of consciousness, those living waters that revive us and remind us of who we truly are. As you explore the mythology associated with Aquarius, we can go back to the Greek myth of Zeus and Ganymede, where Zeus is attracted to this young boy, Ganymede, and so he changes into eagle form and snatches him up and brings him back to Olympus, and then has Ganymede be his cupbearer, giving him the drink of ambrosia, the drink of immortality, to empower him and enliven him. But it's a story of power over. It's a story of longing for immortality, but seeking it in a way that is about power over and conquest. We can trace back earlier to the Epic of Gilgamesh, coming from the oldest known version from about 2000 BCE. Again, both of these stories are coming to us from the beginning of the Age of Aries or the Greek myth further into the Age of Aries. But in the Epic of Gilgamesh, he also is seeking the herb of immortality and finally finds his way to get that herb and is coming back to his home to establish himself in his power and in his immortality. And he stops at a spring to bathe, and the herb is snatched by a serpent who takes it and then sheds its skin, symbolic of our movement through life, death, rebirth. That in his effort to have control over his mortality, Gilgamesh loses that and then has to face his own experience of mortality and redefine who he is in light of that. But these stories are about, in the Age of Aries, our effort to control our own destiny, to somehow conquer death and grasp immortality. But if we trace back further, some of the oldest known myths coming from pre-patriarchal times that relate to Aquarius come from myths dating back about 3000 BCE from ancient Sumer. We have Gula, the goddess of healing, who, tracing back even further, comes from the goddess Bao, also a goddess of healing, of creation, associated with the rain god, again, with the waters of life. And Bao is the one who heals us, who restores us, who creates us, and then sustains us. And Bao, this goddess, knew our destiny, knew our journeys, and was here to heal us and support us. The goddess Bao reminds us that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Our immortality is not something we can grasp and control. It's something that is about who we are. We are soul selves having this earthly experience, that we come into this experience of mortality to grow, to heal, to evolve, to mature. So, as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, it is a time to remember the deeper meaning of our immortality, that we are a part of the waters of consciousness of the cosmos, that we come into form, but once we die, we return to our soul selves and re-merge with the consciousness of the cosmos. So we are here to experience this journey of incarnation, this evolution of consciousness. Interestingly enough, the zigzag image of Aquarius is our oldest known symbolic motif. Think about that. Our oldest symbolic motif, dating back at least 40,000 years into the Neolithic period. And in those times, that zigzag image was symbolic of living waters, but also very associated with the goddess of creation. It would be found on water containers with the face of the goddess, or associated with other images of the uterus of the goddess. Again, this creator this energy of the goddess, the creator, who births us, holds us in this experience, guides us in remembering our consciousness, and then guides us through this journey of life, death, rebirth. Aquarius is about the physical living waters that surround us and that are within us, and the living waters of consciousness that are in all that is. So as we sip of these waters, as we absorb these waters of Aquarius, as we allow ourselves to take in and experience these energies of the Aquarian age, of Pluto now empowering and activating those energies of Aquarius, it is about remembering who we truly are, coming into that awareness of our immortality, that we are soul selves having a human experience. It then can guide us to remember we're a part of the consciousness of the cosmos, and in that way to come back into balance, into that understanding of being in harmony, right relationship with all that is, because everything around us is conscious. But again, how do we navigate this time in the midst of the tumult and the chaos and the destruction that surrounds us? What's given me comfort and guidance as I work with my own feelings about all of that is to come back to that profound story from ancient Egypt of Isis, Osiris, Set, Horus. Let me remind you of this story because it is the story of our human journey of evolution of consciousness. It is the story of our being in these cycles of precession, of ascending and descending consciousness. It is profound that when we look at the correlation between the Yuga cycle, which are these periods of 3,000 years of shifting consciousness, and we compare it to the precessional cycle, these 12 ages of moving through the signs of the zodiac, they match up in a profound way at the time of the movement into the ages related to the fixed signs: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio. How profound is that? And how significant then that so many ancient myths are constantly referring to imagery related to these four signs, these four constellations in the sky. And these are the four constellations of the royal stars: Regulus in Leo, Aldebaran in Taurus, Fomalhaut with Aquarius, and Teres with Scorpio, or the constellation Scorpius. And I will be putting out in a few days my video about this upcoming new moon on December 1st, the new moon as we move across this threshold into the more fully into the age of Aquarius. And how extraordinary is it that the sun and moon at the time of that new moon will be conjunct the royal star Antares, the heart of the Scorpion. This is a time for transformation and transmutation. But let me remind you of this story of Isis, Osiris, Set, and Horus, because I truly believe this myth encodes the meaning of this journey that we're in as humanity and how we can understand and work this intense time that we're in now. Remember that Isis relates to the star Sirius, our binary star, guiding us through this journey of the precessional cycle. Osiris relates to the stars of Orion, that constellation that is symbolic of our human experience in incarnation on this planet. And Orion, the stars of Orion descend and ascend across the precessional cycle. And they are now at their highest point of elevation in terms of their movement in these cycles. This is the time where we're called into ascending consciousness. But in the story of Isis, Osiris, and Set, that is the story of precession. We have in the golden age, at the time of higher consciousness, Isis and Osiris are the benevolent leaders that guide the people to live out in alignment with spiritual consciousness. There is this sense of balance and unity consciousness and the alignment with cosmic consciousness in every aspect of life. But then as we move into the descending cycle, Set, the brother of Isis and Osiris, who is the one who's caught up in ego, a longing for power and greed and conquest, he rises in his efforts to destroy the order and the balance fostered in that time of higher consciousness, and he seeks power and control. And he kills Osiris, and Isis then finds him and restores him and revives him. And she revives him such that he impregnates her with the child Horus. But then Set, whose name means chaos, being caught in time and disorder and storminess, strikes again and lashes out and cuts up Osiris's body into 14 pieces and scatters him far and wide. That is the energy of destruction, chaos, the energy of the colonizers, the conquerors, the power over, the energy of this patriarchal period and time of war and greed and conquest that we've been in for 5,000 years. That is the energy of Set, of chaos and disorder and ego and longing for power over. We move from that integration of the understanding of our being spiritual beings, having a physical experience, living that in balance, living that in joy and thriving, into now a longing to control our mortality and immortality, to separate ourselves from cosmic consciousness, to be in control and in separation from the consciousness of everything around us. And it becomes a time of disorder and destruction and chaos. Isis, the great goddess, carrying that love and wisdom of cosmic consciousness, gathers up the pieces of Osiris, reforms him, revives him once again. This is such a symbolic story of how the love of the cosmos keeps helping us as humanity when we lose our way and tear each other apart, bringing us back into balance, reviving us, restoring us, rebirthing us. At this point in the story, Osiris decides to descend into the lower world and be in that other realm. And I think it's symbolic of how those who are holding the path of spiritual consciousness, the path of integrity, the path of alignment with their soul self, with truth, with justice, with love, at a certain point begin to leave the planet when we descend into our lowest time of consciousness, the Kali Yuga, in this Yuga cycle. And this is when Set takes control and is in power. And we see the patriarchal power over paradigms, and we see these thousands of years that we've been through of chaos and destruction of the planet and violence towards each other and wars and hatred. Chaos is in control. But in the story, Horus, nurtured by his mother Isis, and also Hathor the goddess that understands the sacredness of the earth and of embodiment. She's very associated with the sign of Taurus. She is nurturing and supporting Horus. Horus grows up to be the representative of the awakened ones, the enlightened ones who remember the path of integrity, who remember how to live in alignment with spiritual consciousness, who remember the true meaning of immortality, that we are a part of cosmic consciousness, that we live and die and are reborn again, that we are immortal souls having a human experience. And then there's this struggle between Set and Horus, who is trying to set things right and avenge his father's death. And it is this duality, this struggle between disorder and order, chaos and integrity, living in disconnection from spiritual consciousness and being the enlightened one, staying true to that alignment with cosmic consciousness. Eventually, Horus succeeds in defeating Set. But what's interesting is in the versions of the story of how that unfolds, one version is that the only way that this gets resolved, this conflict between disorder and order, chaos and the energies of consciousness and of good, of love, of integrity, of wisdom, is that Isis intervenes and reveals the treachery, the lies, the deceit of Set. And he is then judged by the gods, the netters, the energies of the earth, Geb, and Ra, the sun god. The energies of the earth and sky hold Set in judgment and rule on behalf of Horus, and goodness returns. That energy of enlightenment, of ascended consciousness, of integrity returns to the planet. This is our cycle of descending, ascending consciousness. We are in that struggle now between Set desperately trying to keep control and creating chaos, destruction, death, havoc, and the energies of Horus and Isis, the energies of the creation of the cosmic consciousness, of the energies of the love and wisdom that surround us, that have birthed us, that hold us, that heal us, restore us, and Horus, symbolic of the human who chooses the path of integrity, the path of awakening, the path of healing, the path of spiritual consciousness. This is our choice now. And I believe how this ongoing struggle between chaos and order, evil and good, how this plays out will depend on the choices that we make and the energies that we align with. I think one of the tragedies on the planet is that for many of us, when we're caught in trauma, we're caught in these energies of chaos and disorder, we can drop into survival mentality, into fear, and into a trauma response. And that fuels the energy of Set, the energy of chaos. The shadow side of the age of Aquarius, which we're seeing play out as we're in this struggle, is power over a global world order and the idealization of technology, of artificial intelligence. As we're coming out of this period of the Kali Yuga, one of the hallmarks of that time of forgetting who we truly are, forgetting what we once knew, is that we drop into the sense that the only reality is this third dimensional reality. We drop into scientific materialism. We drop into that survival mentality that all that's real, the only reality, is the physical, visible reality around us. Remember that 5% of the universe is visible physical matter. 95% is plasma, dark energy, dark matter, mystery. It's actually cosmic consciousness. It's all cosmic consciousness, the seen and the unseen, visible and invisible reality. But our visible reality is 5% of that. It is what is manifesting in this third dimensional reality. When we lock ourselves into that as the only truth, then we separate ourselves from the full reality of who we are and of cosmic consciousness. And then we get caught in trying to manage and control this physical plane. This is when we get caught in trying to find the herb of immortality to keep ourselves in this third dimensional reality for eternity. This is when we seek to become transhuman and merge with technology or computer chips in our brains to keep this physical form alive. It is such a travesty and such a shallow manifestation of the true meaning of immortality, which is to remember that we are soul selves. We are a part of cosmic consciousness, to celebrate and experience this physical form, to grow in consciousness, to grow in our evolutionary journey of love and wisdom. Part of the challenge as we move into the age of Aquarius is to remember the true meaning of immortality, to sip deeply of the waters of the water bearer, guiding us in remembering who we truly are and what we're capable of, to remind us how to come back into balance, into wholeness, into right relationship with cosmic consciousness. Then we live from love and truth and justice and compassion and right relationship with all that is. Horus, the awakened one, the enlightened one, defeats Set, and Set is pushed to the margins of the community, pushed out into the desert. We live in a realm of duality, but we are now in this struggle as to what we choose to align with and what we choose in terms of our own karmic choice point in this time, individually and collectively. And we see a lot of how that's playing out on the planet right now. We see the power of Set at work in the world. And we see some succumbing to that power over in fear or in accommodation or hope that Set will save the day. But we all need to realize that the deeper story of what's unfolding, that order will triumph over chaos. We are moving out of the Kali Yuga. We are moving into ascending consciousness. The energies of the earth will be set right again. But how that unfolds is up to us and how we co-create with these energies of cosmic consciousness. Horus represents the conscious ones who choose to stay in alignment with Isis, the great goddess, the energy of the love and wisdom of the cosmos. Her energy continued on from ancient Egypt into the emergence of Christianity as the Mother Mary and as Mary Magdalene, both of whom studied in the temples of Isis. Isis is among us. Horus is among us. We can choose to align with Isis and Horus, or we can choose to align with Set. And that will influence the unfolding that we're in on the planet. As I explored in my book that I'm revising, Finding Our Center, Wisdom from the Stars and Planets in Times of Change, that is all about the meaning of the precessional cycle and this time that we're in now. It's becoming increasingly clear from the scientific research that we go through this profound time of shift every 12,000 years at the beginning and of a precessional cycle where we are now and at the midpoint. And these times are when we move through the galactic current sheet that activates our sun, activates all the planets in our solar system, activates our Earth. And we have the potential to go through this magnetic shift and solar micronova and or comet impacts, because our magnetic field is so low during this time that we go through a cataclysmic reset. That is one very possible trajectory that we're on the planet now. And a lot of the scientific evidence targets that likely to occur in the 2030s or 2040s. We're on that threshold. And so many psychics as well as scientists are projecting how that may unfold and what may happen. But again, remember that we are immortal beings. We are co-creators with cosmic consciousness. And part of what I write about in the revisions of my book is that we, in this experience as humanity on the planet, have gone through these 24,000-year cycles of ascending and descending consciousness. But at any point, when we sip deeply of the waters of wisdom of the consciousness and remember who we are, we at any point can step off that wheel and step into the center, just as we do when we work with the medicine wheel and that medicine wheel meditation that I've put out. At any point, we can step off this wheel of the processional cycle, step into higher consciousness, remember who we are, and reclaim our capacity to live in alignment with our soul selves and in alignment with cosmic consciousness, and live in alignment with love and wisdom and justice and truth and integrity. When we look at this critical time that we're in, the cusp of the age of Aquarius, and its alignment with this movement in the Yuga cycle into ascending consciousness, we look at these four fixed signs, at these four critical points in the precessional cycle, in the Yuga cycle, and the meaning of these four royal stars and how they guide us to integrate this remembrance of who we truly are. We can honor the message of Regulus, the heart of Leo the lion, to live from our hearts with courage and to live from the light of the consciousness of our sun that is within us and lives within our hearts. We can look at Aldebaran, the royal star of Taurus, and remember the sacredness of our embodiment, that our being here in human form is not a separation from source, but a creative expression of the love and consciousness of the cosmos. Everything around us is sacred. Then we can come back into right relationship with ourselves, with each other, with the earth, and all of life. We can remember at core that wisdom of Fomalhaut, the wisdom of our being immortal beings, soul cells, having this human experience, and drink deeply from those waters of consciousness and remembrance. And we can remember the meaning of Antares, the heart of the scorpion, reminding us of that alchemical journey to burn away what no longer serves us, to be in the true gold of who we are, that our true selves are our being soul selves, having this human experience. And this new moon aligns with Antares to remind us of that, to remind us that we are in this time of transformation, transmutation. And we can, as we honor Pluto in Aquarius, guiding us to burn away what no longer is in alignment with the true meaning of Aquarius, so that we can reclaim that sovereignty of the self and the sanctity of community, to be in unity with cosmic consciousness. This is the time where we're letting go of that separation from source, that sense of disconnection, disorder, destruction, coming from being in this time of the Kali Yuga, the time of forgetting, ruled by Set, chaos, and time, bound in time and form, forgetting who we truly are. And we can choose the path of Isis, Osiris, and Horus, the path of consciousness. And then we can affect the timeline that we're on. We can co-create with the earth and sky to influence how all of this manifests. We have a choice. We need to claim that deeper empowerment of Pluto to be in our true selves, to heal and come back into alignment with our soul selves. The time is now. May we support each other in that. May we honor this profound time of transmutation and transformation that we're in. May we align with the wisdom of cosmic consciousness and the love that is coming to us from these living waters of the water bear, the true waters of truth and immortality and love and wisdom. Blessed be.